Itedunu Road, construction of Zik Avenue and Mpo flyover, 30 verifiable bridges, Ezu Ebenebe Bridge, Oka North, Isuanyocha Bridge, Opaka River Bridge, pedestrian bridge at permanent site Unizik Junction, Oka. He created industrial parks as catalyst for industrialization. He constructed and commissioned the Governor's Lodge at Annex Onitsha, FMR Customary Court of Appeal Complex, High Court buildings at Nnewi and Ogidi, Judges' Quarters at Onitsha. His visionary leadership brought unprecedented transformation to the local government in Anambra State. He made provision for 1.2 billion naira credit facilities to farmers in the state and cleared a 20 million.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Obidate Family TV. It's your girl Jessica Chimwe, and this is Go and Verify, where we talk about the past achievements of our principal Peter Obi, and today we'll be talking about what he intends to do when he becomes the president of Nigeria, and we'll also link it to what he has done in the past. But before we go further, let me introduce to you guys here.
It's me, Sharon.
You know, Sharon has been giving this face because we were talking about something before we started the show, and I think it's worth discussing before we dive into. All right, can you tell them?
It's the fact that millions of Nigerian youths, most especially, have been disenfranchised. They do not have access to their PVCs. And one of our friends, was telling us about his story. You know this VIN, the last number, the last three digits on your VIN, there is a link where you can, click on to verify if you actually even registered for your PVC. And he was saying that in his department, that they used the link and it was showing them that they were not registered.
And it's even crazy that it's not just the person, but almost everybody in the class.
Yes, everybody in that class.
Exactly.
Imagine. And it's just very disheartening.
Very.
It's very, very disheartening. First of all, let's even distress that students had to go through to vote, to register for their PVCs. The time, the hours, you see, oh my God, it
was crazy, because then I had to, it wasn't even once, like I went there, I came back, I came back home, I went there again, and you're not even sure the day exactly where you get the whole registration done, you know, they keep telling you, go back, we'll do this, and it's stressful. So imagine after going through all this and you discover that, oh wow,
you didn't register. And then it's funny because someone was trying to make sense of it, because it wasn't making sense. They said that maybe the people that registered, the INEC officials, were incompetent. The person that they forgot to upload to submit your
it doesn't really make sense. I kind of feel like this is intentional, because it's just as if everyone is claiming to be ignorant of this thing. But definitely, before you start doing this thing, you already know what's up. You already know how.
The lack of incompetency. You can't tell me that you were ignorant, or that how would something be going on in your own domain and you were not aware of it? This is just, I don't even know the exact adjective to qualify this, but it's not ignorance.
Okay, yeah, I would agree to that. But then let's dive into what we have to talk about today. So like I said, this is Go and Verify, and we are here to verify everything that our principal has done. And I'm very certain that you must have heard a lot of them, but some people do not want to believe that these are the things that he has done. But it's out there, so you can go and verify. But this is what we are here to do, to tell you a few of them. But we'll continue from yesterday, right? Yesterday we were talking about the 7 key points agenda that Peter Obi intends to do or accomplish when he becomes the president of Nigeria. So let's go into infrastructural development.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sharon,
I think we touched infrastructural development yesterday.
No, we didn't really look into it. We just, the surface level.
All right.
So let's talk more on this infrastructural development. I think this is there are a lot of them. But then when I dive into this infrastructural development, I am so amazed, because there are a lot of things that Peter Obi did when he was the governor of Anambra State. When it comes to infrastructural development, the fact that he was able to build roads that help the economy of the state and the citizens, so it's something that it's something that when we begin to look into it, we are certain that when he becomes the president of Nigeria, it is possible, you know, for him to do even more. But aside from infrastructural development, it doesn't mean that the past government or the current one, they don't do anything, you know, they don't build roads, they don't build stuff like this. But then what I've noticed is that these people tend to do these things, but then they do not put in the best. Let's say if you're given contract to do, maybe if you're given 200 million contract to do something, to build roads or, you know, whatever it is, you are more likely to use just half of the money, or bring in bad or incompetent people, you know, to help you do whatever you want to do. But then we notice, and this is what we're going to also talk about today, we've noticed how Peter Obi doesn't just, you know, do these things, but then he brings in the best hands to do all of these things, and that is what is most important than doing the thing exactly. So first of all, because we're saying that we are going to talk about the 7-point agenda, but then we are linking it to what he has done in the past, so that you will know that, okay, he's promising these things. Is he able to deliver? He's able to deliver because he has done these things before. So Sharon, can you talk more on infrastructural development that he has done before?
In Anambra State.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, we've seen the hospitals that this man built. Prior to his time, we know that there was no teaching hospital, no hospital that was actually taking in medical students, and then he came and he changed that. And then we saw how he did it by partnering with missionaries and making, because he tried to partner with the normal government officials, but and he wasn't seeing results, so he had to partner with these people. And that's that. We now look at the schools. We talk about we talk about him bringing equipment, bringing facilities and laptops and the rest, but there are schools that he actually also helped renovate and build, and I think that is also falling under infrastructure. Then we also look at the secretariat, because prior to him becoming the governor,
there was no secretariat.
Anambra State didn't have any physical office or building where they could hold meetings. Exactly. So that was something. And then he came and he changed all of that. Then we also look at what do we call it? Resorts. We look at resorts. We look at what is it called? Hotels that he had to actually build. So those were one of the things
exactly. And I love all of those things that he did. I also want to mention that someone said it, and I'm very certain that it is true. So there was a time that Peter Obi, obviously, he was the governor of Anambra State, and when it comes to doing things for the community or for the people, there is something that I really like. The fact that he goes around, like if there is an issue in a community or if there is a need to do something, Peter Obi goes there himself and inquire what exactly is happening here. It doesn't just leave you to, okay, this is what is happening, can you go there and go and supervise and say no? Like exactly, he goes there himself and see what is happening, and that shows what true leadership is all about. And I love that so much.
I do. And then you know that the people that worked with him actually said that they actually commented on that. Professor Okona Stella, where she talks about how he visited over, I think, 117 communities in Anambra State, where he was going from community to community, trying to find out exactly what they needed in that community.
Amazing.
And he was having this one-on-one discussion. And you know, you mentioned something about delegating someone else. You know that the results, someone else that he would have delegated, and him going there himself would absolutely be different, because there is something about actually seeing is believing.
Exactly.
There's something different about seeing and getting a written report. Sir, we went to and look, this is what they need and this is what they said to us. Of course, you know that if it was someone else that went there, there's high probability that, okay, these people mentioned 3 things. Yes, they will now list 2. They have a
or list 5 so they can lose money.
Okay, they might even list more, and then the money that they would budget for that, they will not keep it in their pocket. So yes, I like the fact that Mr. Peter is someone who, I think it's also because he's a trader. He understands the importance of one-on-one conversations, on dealing one-on-one with people, from his experience in in markets and deal and trading, both locally and internationally. So yes, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I also want to exactly, thank you for that. I also want to add that we always talk about this thing whenever we are discussing Peter Obi and his capacity, the fact that he is a very accountable person. So that also is included in all of these things. And there was a time where we were discussing about the infrastructure aspects and the fact that he made the constructors, the construction company, right? Yeah, the contractors or something. He made them sign an agreement signature. Like, it was so crazy. And it was because he made them sign that thing so that they are going to put in their very best. So if I am giving you this contract to build this road or to do certain things, you are going to sign a 5 years maintenance bond. Like, that is going to show that, okay, if this thing exceed, like if this thing that you've built, stays for more than 5 years, then you're free to go. But if within that 5 years it spoils or something goes wrong, you're going to use your money, your personal money, exactly, to do it. So this just shows that you are coming in with the very best. So the fact that Peter Obi goes out, to inquire about what exactly is happening, he's not just there to just sit down as the governor, let me just allocate duties to people, so they are going to do it, and then I'm just like staying there,
not at all.
Exactly.
And apart from that, what will I call it? That agreement that the contractors signed. When Peter Obi comes out to say that when he left office, he wasn't owing any contractor, any supplier, he wasn't owing salary and anything. And then he would now emphasize on something. He wasn't owing any contractor that worked. Do you understand that? What? Because you will give people contract and they won't work. You don't expect him to pay you when you both agreed on a particular contract you signed and everything, and you don't meet up your own part of the bargain. He's not going to pay you. So I think that I also there are different measures that Mr. Peter Obi put in place to make sure that he got the best out of those funds. Apart from that agreement, the fact that he won't pay you unless he sees, because I think what Nigerian government does is to award contracts and they'll pay you in full.
Exactly.
Or maybe not in full, but the money that they would pay you would be enough for you to just run away. I know you don't work that way with people. Let's say, for example, you're moving into a new place and you need carpenters, you need plumbers. You don't pay them in full
until they're done with it.
You have to wait until they are done before you can actually pay them. So I like the measures that Mr. Peter Obi actually put in place to make sure that he got the work done.
I think that's the reason why some people do not like him. Someone said something that Nigerians as people, they are so used to this, they're not used to, how do I put it? Okay, let's just say a person like Peter Obi. We are so used to people like Buhari and Atiku, and exactly, we're used to these people because what we've known for a very long time is looting. Bad governance and all of these things. So when we see someone who is so capable, it's just so, it's just
difficult to change.
Exactly. Just example now, you are, let's say for instance, where the only thing that you're only seeing every day is people, like black people, right? For example, you never see white people in your life. So imagine that one day you wake up and then you see someone, you're going to scream and run away, you understand?
So you will seem wrong.
Exactly. So that is just what, and I understand it, right? This is a mindset thing where you're so used to bad governance. So when you see the possibility of having good governance, it's just so hard for you to accept that it's going to happen in the country.
I actually believe it's trauma.
It's also
traumatic because
so the whole of Nigerians are going through this traumatic moment.
We are, because let's look at it on an individual basis.
Okay.
As a child, you had this trauma while growing up, and maybe the trauma is that your father wasn't present and you never felt the love of your father. And then you grow up in that same way. You never felt love from any figure, any father figure. Exactly. There's how that child reacts to the society is not the same way that a child who grew up in a healthy family would react. Do you understand? So the way that child would perceive things is definitely different. Because when we're talking about oppression and being oppressed for too long, let's look at the Stockholm syndrome. You know, when you are being oppressed, you are constantly being oppressed. You know, the Stockholm syndrome says that it's possible for you to actually fall in love, or to actually become loyal to your oppressor. So I think that is one thing that is affecting Nigerians, the Stockholm syndrome, because then we are so the sheer idea of, okay, this is our right, because you know, let's look at electricity, for instance. The day they would have,
I know where you're going to now.
The day we would have power supply for 7 hours.
You are going to be
happening. Is everything okay?
Exactly.
We should not burn our transformer.
But that is how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
That is how it's supposed to be.
Imagine there was a story I heard where this man traveled. I don't know if it's Europe or the US. I don't know exactly. And there was power supply for 24 hours. This man ran out of his house. He said something is wrong with these people. How can you have power supply for 24 hours? Wow. They don't take it. And it's back to back. So it's something that we need help from.
Yes.
I think there's, you know, when someone said that all of us should just go and pay for therapy sessions.
Exactly.
We should pay for therapy session, and I actually would buy that. It's just that they are
not Nigerian therapists. Obviously.
What do you mean Nigerian?
No, we don't need Nigerian therapists in this situation. Why?
Well, do you not think they are capable of?
No, when it comes to situation like this, we need foreign therapists for crying out loud.
I think we need P2B as a therapist.
Okay, yes, that is included.
P2B should become, when P2B becomes president, look, most of these problems, we won't have it.
Exactly.
So then, there's no, you know, there are sometimes you are in a very bad mood. You think you're having mood swing, but what you really need is a lot.
Exactly, or even food.
And you
or you're hungry, but then you think something
is wrong, and then you just eat food. And I wasn't even. That's like
exactly. I wasn't depressed. Right?
Yeah. Sometimes when you go to, you know, when you're, for me, for instance, if I'm hungry, my body starts shaking. That's though I'm ill. So there's a day, I think I went to the pharmacy, right? I said, look, please, sir, I don't know what's wrong with me. My body is shaking. I feel hot. He just asked me, have you eaten today? I said, no. So what we need as Nigerians is good governance. Exactly. And that's what Mr. P2B is bringing.
Exactly. I love that. Thank you so much for that. So I think we should go on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll dive deeper into what we are talking about today. See you.
Of the 2012 flood devastation, P2B's administration purchased 90 buses and taxis for Anis Mass Transit Company. He adopted the best practice in waste disposal and provided over 300 million naira worth of waste evacuation trucks. The Debt Management Office rated Anambra as the least indebted state in Nigeria. Mr. P2B handed 75 billion naira to his successor, Mr. Willie Obiano. The credibility and reputation of P2B as a competent visionary leader in public service governance and management of state resources remains undisputable.
That they vote for, they'll go vote for another person. So what will they try do now? They try teach people, show people say now the logo be this. So that the way you want vote, when you reach there, you will see one will be umbrella, not be for Peter Obi. You'll see one will be broom, not be for Peter Obi. Now this one will Papa, Mama, Pikin, Day, and that will be Peter Obi. So when you want vote, you come press that ink they'll put for your hand. You come put her for where this picture they so now you go put her. That's why you take vote for Peter Obi. So if you see Labour Party logo now, you know what they are.
I don't know because of this.
And the picture of so on the day of the election, you put your hand for where that picture, you make it not process another person.
How can you?
Welcome back to Obidati Family TV, and this is Go and Verify, where we'll talk about the past achievements of our principal, Peter Obi. So we've been talking about his manifesto, what he intends to do when he becomes the president of Nigeria. I and my guest. You don't want to introduce this. I don't know. I've been calling you guest for a very long time. Sorry, my co-host. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah. You've been saying a lot of things that I just had to like. Okay, so this girl has sense.
Ah.
Well then, that was a joke.
Yeah,
okay, so we are going to continue from where we stopped. We got to number 6, human capital development. This one is huge. When I got to infrastructure development, I thought it was huge, but now talking about human capital development, I mean, is huge. Thank you. It's huge. Yeah. If you don't see that in the dictionary.
That's in my dictionary. You will see that.
Yeah, so let's stress more on human capital development. You know, Peter Obi is someone that is very critical when it comes to humans, right? He would prefer, like, he would give 99% attention to developing humans than the normal infrastructural stuff that our governments are used to, because according to his own philosophy, it is these humans that will take care of these things that you're trying to build. So you need to build these ones. You need to build human beings, right? You need to focus more on them in order for you to get all of these things, you know, stable. And
yeah, I totally agree with that. There is a popular saying that that we usually say on social media.
Okay.
Someone started the saying. Anyways, it says we rise by lifting others.
Yeah.
So that is a perfect human capital development quote, because when we talk about physical infrastructure, it's good, it's beautiful, but then what's the use of having physical infrastructure if you don't have capable humans to manage it?
Exactly.
And that is what Mr. P2B is all about. When we look at how can you develop humans, you can develop humans by investing in education.
Empowerment.
Exactly, empowerment, education, and healthcare. Bringing them out of poverty, and Mr. P2B did all of these things. He did it in education, the healthcare sector, bringing people out of poverty. He was the first governor in Nigeria to ever do the poverty mapping in Anambra State, where he mapped out, okay, this region is these are the regions that are poorer. Okay, this what caused this poverty? What is the cost? Okay, what do you think that what can we do? He had to do that research, and I like that Mr. P2B is someone who works a lot on research. He's not someone that just looks and guesses, okay, I think you might need boreholes here, I think you might need this here. He's someone that actually puts in the research. So human capital development, we see how he developed Anambra. Let's look at, what is it called? Is it Anambra South? How he poverty mapping, and he actually discovered that Anambra South, their poverty is on another level. And he had to start focusing on their education, pumping money into their education, paying attention to healthcare system, and it was just absolutely beautiful, because if it was even from the Anambra South that the next governor came from, that is the person of Dr. Willie Obiano. So if they were not opportune, or they didn't have the privilege to have good education, there's no way that that would have happened. And then you know that Anambra South shares a boundary with is it Enugu or Abia? Yeah, I think it's Enugu, yes. And when you look at, they are the same people, but then when you come to Anambra, you see that the Anambra South, the villages there and the communities there are doing very well. You see beautiful houses, you see nice infrastructures, and you see that it's actually when you develop humans that those humans will in turn develop infrastructure. And that's why I like Mr. P2B things. Yeah,
we mentioned that yesterday. Exactly,
because if he doesn't know how to prioritize, he would focus on building infrastructures, developing infrastructures, and then that infrastructure would just not be developed. Look at, they say when you go to Abuja, you see a whole lot of skyscrapers, beautiful skyscrapers that is unoccupied. People are not using it, because there is something about, okay, if you even think about it, infrastructures, buildings cannot take care of themselves. You need people to take care of those things. You need capable hands. So we saw that Mr. P2B actually, for a truth, actually invested in humans when he was in Anambra State.
Thank you for that. I love the one you said that he majors on the or some people major on the minor and minor on the major is something that Peter Obi is good at. Like, he focuses on the right things, the things that needs urgent attention. And so about, you were talking about schools, right?
Yes.
And that's another one, how Peter Obi even funded not just federal schools, not just
schools in Anambra State,
not just schools in Anambra State, or private school, but then he went on to fund even other people's school, like private school that are not even supposed to be, you know, funded or looked exactly. And so that's another one. And we mentioned one time where he gave 1 million to first class. Someone was saying something. I you know, we're asking each other if we could, you know, find someone who benefited from it. I actually saw someone.
You did?
Yes, I did. And according to the person, he said that 1 million was huge then.
Of course.
1 million there was huge then.
So now if you give me 1 million,
exactly,
it's huge.
But it can't be compared to how it was before. And the person said he invested in that money. And that act alone was it helped students to read more. It helped them to, you know, shape their mindset about education. True. And this person testifying of what Peter Obi did, how he was able to, you know, get that 1 million naira as a first class graduate. He's doing very well now. Really? And it started from the 1 million naira. So imagine if that is in place at the moment. People are going to take education serious. Even if you need other skills, other things, you know, to thrive in life, but then you will not be so like a desica or act just anyhow when you're in school, because you know that school is also exactly. So that's something that we need to.
And not just the 1 million naira. You know how he brought up like credit facilities to students, so that he could have loans, take loans from banks. And you know, I don't know where this mindset comes from, but an average Nigerian, when he or she has a problem, would not think of going to the bank to loan money, because they always see banks as, I don't know if it's because of the experiences that we've had with the banking industry. Yeah, maybe because they think that when you borrow from banks, right, it's the end of you contributed to this thing. No, it's real. I've seen someone, I've seen a mother, a woman, go out to borrow, go to the bank to borrow, I don't know the amount, but it was very small. It wasn't up to 50,000 naira. She wanted that money before she gets her salary. So she was just complaining. I was just there listening to her. She was just complaining how she borrowed this money, and then they were just giving us some certain things to sign. I didn't really want to ask her what are the procedures, or what are the protocols, you know, they asked you to do. It was just, she was just almost crying, but then she was in the public, and I was wondering, what is it about bank? What is it about borrowing? Oh, really? You know, but I don't think borrowing itself is a bad thing, especially if you're going to use the money for a business or there's a return. But then, if you're using, if you're going to Nigerian bank to borrow to eat, so maybe that's that, because where mine, because now if I'm in a fix right now, I don't know if I will still go to a bank. What contributed to that was the movies I watched when I was growing up.
Oh yes,
in non-road movies. And see, let's not downplay the role movies have in shaping our growth. True, exactly. In those movies that I saw as a child, the big men in that movie, if they wanted to go down, it's usually banks, men in black suits that will come and close down the houses, lock down their shops, and send the children on the streets. So I don't know how it just, and it's not just me. I've had discussion with friends, and it just somehow, it was printed in our head that, look, if you borrow from bank, they are going to do this to you. And it's not true. It is not. That's the funny thing. It is not true. You know, okay, then you have, when you talk about borrowing from the bank to eat, Mr. Peter will say that you don't borrow from bank to eat. You have to borrow from bank to invest. You don't even borrow from bank to save.
Exactly.
You can't borrow from the bank to save. It's not a wise decision. It's not a wise financial decision. Not. You borrow from bank to invest, something that you are sure that will give you a return, give you profits, and then be also to make it possible for you to pay up your loan. So Mr. Peter also, when he came to Anambra, he made it possible for students to be able to loan money. And it's just, and then when he was sharing the story about most of these rich men, not just in Nigeria but abroad, and how loaning money has actually been one of the things that boosted their businesses and took them out of poverty. True. And this is something that we do not appreciate, or we do not use enough. we don't loan. I will not say that it's because they don't want to. I think they have not been properly educated on how to go about it.
That
on
education,
what to do with loans.
that education is most important, because now some people have this bad ideology, like they have the wrong mindset about borrowing. So I think as Peter Obi is going to do this thing, if he intends to do it, then he should implement something that will educate people, you know, on how to go about all of this thing. But then I also want to chip in something. There was something, I've been saying something, but then Tinubu said one time that he was just saying, you know, he's not serious. He just comes out and tell you guys bad blue. So he was promising that he's going to grant students, he's going to implement credit card, you know, where you go and get something without, even if you don't have the money, but then you'll be, you know, you're still going to get the money back here. But then I didn't really see that as something ideal. This is Nigeria, for crying out loud. Imagine I don't have any money in my account, but then I have a credit card and I see an iPhone, which I'm very certain that in the next 2 years I may not be able to. Exactly. So his own, I think he's just trying to copy, or he doesn't really understand the state of Nigeria to see such a thing. But then Peter Obi, it's very funny, but Peter Obi understands this thing, and he has garnered knowledge on how to go about all of this thing. So we should believe and we should be expectant. So in summary, about human capital development, Peter Obi intends to enhance the human capital of Nigerian youth for productivity and global competitiveness through investment in world-class scholarship and research, quality healthcare, and entrepreneurship education. This is huge. This is very huge. I am really expectant of all of this thing that will happen in Nigeria. I mean, I just pray and hope that,
because we are still talking about human capital development.
Yeah, sure.
And I remembered something else that he did in Anambra, where we are talking about small scale businesses, small farmers, and how he was able to invest in their farming and in helping them boost their profit. So you know, then in Anambra State, the transportation was just terrible, and because of that, people were not able to transport their goods from their location to their consumers, and that was shortening. Because I would think of, oh my God, I'm going to go to so distance. It's better I just stay back home, or you have
sell
to
it in a low price.
By the time, let's look at maybe edible goods, maybe tomatoes. By the time you transport tomatoes and how long it would take because of the bad road to get to your consumers, it would have spoiled, and then you're not making any gain from it. So he came and then he started funding. He started giving them funds, helping them out, sponsoring those small farmers, and then he also went into constructing good roads for them. And you see that those people were able to move up from that poverty, the situation that they found themselves in, the status quo, to something even better because of funding. So this is one other way that he was able to invest in humans. He was able to take them out of poverty. So I like that he did that, and I'm looking forward to him doing that on a national scale. Not just farmers, right? We have small businesses, we have entrepreneurs who are just starting out, especially young people. If you notice it, young people are becoming more and more invested, in entering in owning their own businesses, because there's no job. That's true. And also, Nigerians are very creative and they're very hard working.
That's true.
So sometimes, when you have this dream, you want to live in this huge house, you want to be able to afford the flashiest things, and you know that working in a particular company and receiving salary might not be enough to fund the kind of dream that you have. So you see these young people actually starting up their own businesses, but then one thing about business and starting up is it's not always going to be rosy in the start. You would need financial backup. That is important. There is this millionaire, this Igbo millionaire, who was saying that when he was trying to help the people of his village, he didn't only give them money. He actually sat them down and then he would call them, okay, Chinedu, what's up with this your business? How is it going? And then, boss, I'm having this little issue. And he would give them advice on how to go about it. And that's something that Mr. P2B does very well. He doesn't just give you the resources and then turns his back. he would actually stay there and give you the knowledge that you need to back up his the finance that he has given you. So that is absolutely amazing.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's go to the last one, which is robust policy. And one of it is, he said, he will ensure that in moving Nigeria forward, no state or community will be left behind. Pursuant to its stationary responsibility to protect our government, will promote equality in power and resource sharing. He also said that he will respect the principles of federal character, affirmative action and gender balance, but no longer at the expense of merit. There are a lot of them when it comes to this. A lot of them, and we are going to continue to mirror because we don't want to exhaust all of these things that we have to say today. So I hope that you enjoyed today's show, and if you're still doubting, you can go and verify from from other sources, because what we are saying and what Peter Obi has done so far are real, and he's able to do even more. This is what we'll call it a wrap on today's show. Bye for now. But before then, don't forget to follow us on all our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and anywhere you intend to follow us. And don't also forget to leave where you are watching from, because that is very important. It shows that you are following, and we would really love to know where you're watching from. You can also follow me on my own private social media platform, Jessica__ on Instagram and on Twitter. So what about you?
And for me, it's Sharon Enemchukwu on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
All right, that's nice. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.